Chosen one, did you know that it's entirely possible for someone to feel exactly what you feel, without a single word being spoken, without even being in the same room, or sometimes without even fully understanding why? Yes, it's not only possible, it's already happening, and it happens more often than you might think, especially for a rare group of souls. You, those who carry a sacred kind of sensitivity, those who didn't come into this world to live shallow, forgettable love stories, those who can't pretend not to feel when their spirit is already connected, those who have been marked by heaven to experience deeper connections than the world knows how to explain. Because of this divine gift, you notice things others ignore. You pick up on signs, shifts, vibrations, emotional signals most people are too distracted to sense. But when the feelings become intense, when your soul whispers truths your mind can't prove, and the other person seems silent, it's natural to question everything. Is this connection even real, or am I just imagining it? If you've ever asked yourself that question, you're exactly where you need to be. Because today, I'm going to reveal the 5 invisible but undeniable signs that someone is spiritually connected to you. These signs don't come through texts, don't show up in physical closeness, but they do speak directly to your soul. And once you see them, you cannot unsee them. If you resonate with even one of these signs, beloved, you can believe with confidence, this person feels you too. Maybe they don't have the words. Maybe they're still in denial. Maybe they don't fully understand what's happening in their own heart. But the energy is real, and when the 5th sign appears, the rarest of all, it's a divine confirmation. When it shows up, your soul will know, this is no longer a question, this is truth. So stay with me until the very end, because what I'm about to share may be the confirmation your heart has been praying for, or the sign the universe has been trying to show you over and over again, waiting for you to recognize it. To all of you who have supported this mission through Super Thanks, thank you from the depths of my heart. Your generosity helps carry this message to every chosen soul who needs it. And whether you've donated or simply listened with an open heart, please know you are cherished, you are valued, and you are a vital part of this journey. And if your soul begins to stir while watching, if you feel that this message is reaching into places even you haven't dared to speak, comment 999 below. That number is a spiritual code that says, I'm ready. I recognize the truth. I accept the connection. You're not here by accident. You were led here because it's already happening. Let's begin. God's chosen ones, if you feel these 5 signs, it's because someone feels the same way about you too. The first sign, your body knows before your mind does. Have you ever paused in the middle of your day and suddenly felt something shift inside your body? An unexplained chill running down your spine, a momentary warmth across your chest, or even a tightness that came out of nowhere? Could it really be just a random sensation, or is something deeper trying to reach you? As one of God's chosen ones, your body often becomes a vessel of divine signal before your conscious mind can even comprehend it. It's not your imagination. It's not coincidence. It's a sacred, energetic conversation unfolding in silence. Before your thoughts have time to analyze, and before your heart begins to feel, your body is the first responder to invisible frequencies. These are not ordinary experiences. They are spiritual messages encoded into physical sensations. You might brush it off. Maybe it's just the weather. Maybe I didn't sleep well. Or maybe I'm overthinking. But what if you're not? What if someone somewhere is intensely thinking about you, praying for you, remembering you? and that spiritual charge has found its way to you, bypassing all logic and going straight to your skin. This moment is what Scripture calls being moved in the Spirit. In Luke 8:46, Jesus says, "Someone touched me. I know that power has gone out from me." He felt an energy exchange even in a crowd, and he responded, not with the mind, but with his body. Like Jesus, you too, chosen one, have been given the spiritual sensitivity to detect invisible movements in the atmosphere. This sign, your body's reaction, is one of the earliest manifestations of divine connection. It doesn't need words. It doesn't ask for proof. It simply is. And those who are spiritually attuned like you, those who carry the mantle of the chosen, will always feel it first. It is the body's way of echoing God's unseen rhythms. But what makes your gift even more sacred is your ability to not just feel, but recognize. Do you remember the story of Florence Nightingale? Known as the founder of modern nursing, she once described receiving a spiritual calling through physical discomfort and illness, long before she ever heard it clearly in her heart or mind. Her body was unsettled because her soul was being summoned. She followed that call and changed the world. What if your strange sensations are not symptoms to dismiss, but directions to follow? You may ask, but what if I'm just being emotional? What if I'm making this up? That doubt doesn't belong to your soul. It belongs to your ego, your fear, and the world that taught you to ignore your inner knowing. But the truth is this: the body doesn't lie. Job 33:14-15 reminds us, "For God speaks again and again, though people do not recognize it. He speaks in dreams, in visions of the night, when deep sleep falls on people. And sometimes he speaks in your body too, when you're wide awake but spiritually open." Actor Jim Carrey once opened up about experiencing depression not as a mental health crisis, but as a sign that his spirit was being misaligned with his purpose. He said, "Depression is your body saying, 'I don't want to be this character anymore.'" Imagine that. Even Hollywood's most humorous minds feel the silent pull of something deeper, and so do you. Except in your case, chosen one, the signs aren't merely emotional, they're divine messages being transmitted through your very being. When you suddenly cry thinking of someone, when your chest tightens at the very moment something happens to them, when you feel a peaceful calm and later find out they were thinking of you, do you really think that's just by chance? Or could it be, as Ecclesiastes 3:11 says, "He has set eternity in the human heart"? You are wired for divine frequency, built to tune into what others ignore, and because of that, you receive what others miss. Let's not forget the story of Harriet Tubman. This extraordinary woman credited her visions and sudden physical seizures as divine guidance from God, many of which helped her guide over 70 slaves to freedom through the Underground Railroad. People doubted her, they dismissed her, but her body was alert to the signals of heaven, and her spirit obeyed. Like Harriet, your body too is more than flesh. It is a divine compass. And here's the mystery that makes this sign even more powerful. The other person may not even realize they're sending energy to you, but they are. And your soul knows. Your body reacts not to the words of the world, but to the vibrations of the Spirit. That's why it's so personal. That's why you feel it so deeply. Because God made you to pick up what others can't even sense. Romans 8:16 affirms this truth. The Spirit Himself testifies with our spirit that we are God's children. This testimony, this inner witness, is what your body experiences first. It doesn't need permission. It doesn't need logic. It just moves, just like the Spirit of God moves across the waters. So, chosen one, don't ignore these sacred signals. They are not merely feelings. They are revelations. Someone, somewhere, is connected to you in ways you cannot fully explain yet. They may be praying about you, dreaming of you, or thinking about you with such force that it echoes through the veil. You are picking it up, not because you're weak or dramatic, but because you are chosen and your spirit was designed for this kind of reception. And this is only the beginning, because when the connection is divine, it never stays on the surface. It goes deeper, it spreads, it shows up in your thoughts, your dreams, your prayers, and soon you'll begin to see the next sign unfold. The second sign. Your dreams are not just dreams, they're divine conversations. Have you ever awakened from a dream so vivid that you could still feel their touch, still see their eyes, still hear their voice echoing inside your chest? Have you wondered why they keep showing up? Not once, not twice, but again and again in your dreams, smiling at you, reaching for you, or simply watching you in silence. Chosen one, this is no accident. You are experiencing something far more sacred than mere imagination. When the world falls asleep, your soul begins to listen. And when there is spiritual connection between two people, dreams become more than symbols. They become meeting places between realms. Why do they keep appearing in your sleep when you haven't thought of them all day? Why do your thoughts carry their face when you close your eyes? The answer isn't found in logic, it's found in the spirit. You see, the realm of dreams is not governed by the mind's doubts, but by the soul's memories and the spirit's whispers. The Bible confirms this repeatedly. Numbers 12:6 declares, "When there is a prophet among you, I, the Lord, reveal myself to them in visions. I speak to them in dreams." What you are seeing at night may not be fiction, it may be a divine revelation. What if that person is dreaming of you too at the same time? What if you're both entering the same sacred space without even planning it? This is the power of spiritual alignment. Two souls connected by unseen threads can be drawn together through dreams, even if distance, silence, or confusion exists in the physical world. You may not speak by day, but your spirits may speak by night. Matthew 1:20 reminds us how an angel appeared to Joseph in a dream to give him direction, proving that dreams are not just echoes of our mind. They are instructions, confirmations, and sometimes divine appointments. You, chosen one, are not imagining this. You are not dreaming in vain. When a face keeps returning to you in the quiet of the night, when a presence lingers even after the dream ends, you are receiving more than a message. You are being pulled into a spiritual dimension where emotional energy travels faster than words. And the depth of your connection is so strong that even if the other person remains unaware, something within their spirit is seeking you too. Take the story of Mary Shelley, the author of Frankenstein. She once described receiving the entire plot of her groundbreaking novel through a dream, one that felt more like a vision than fiction. The idea gripped her heart and transformed the trajectory of her life. What she saw in that dream had purpose, just as what you see, chosen one, carries purpose too. Could it be that the recurring face in your dreams has a divine role in your life story? You might ask, how can I trust what I see in dreams? Isn't it just my mind playing tricks? That's exactly what the enemy wants you to believe, to dismiss divine encounters as fantasy. But the Word of God says otherwise. Joel 2:28 promises, "And it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit on all flesh. Your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, your old men shall dream dreams, and your young men shall see visions." Dreams are not just nighttime stories. They are spiritual downloads sent to stir your heart and awaken your calling. Look at the life of Nikola Tesla. This brilliant inventor once credited many of his ideas to vivid dreams and inner visions that visited him during rest. He called it the gift of the mind being activated in the unconscious. Tesla wasn't just connected to science, he was connected to something higher. So are you. Your dreams don't just carry images, they carry frequency. And you, chosen one, are a vessel tuned to spiritual frequencies others can't detect. Have you ever woken up with your heart racing and your soul stirred, unable to shake the feeling that something just happened? That's not illusion, that's activation. Genesis 23 tells us, "But God came to Abimelech in a dream one night." A reminder that divine interruptions often happen when we are most still. When someone shows up in your dream repeatedly, when they linger there as if to tell you something, it's time to pay attention. It's not always about missing them. It's about what heaven is showing you. And here's what's even more extraordinary. Sometimes, without knowing it, you are carrying someone else's emotional weight in your dreams. The connection is so strong that you feel their joy, their fear, or even their longing before they ever say a word. Have you experienced unexplained sadness or joy that doesn't belong to you? That's not your imagination, that's transmission. Consider the story of the late Princess Diana. Known not just for her grace, but her extraordinary emotional sensitivity, Diana often spoke of dreams that carried prophetic insight, dreams where she'd feel the pain or joy of others before it reached the headlines. Her life was deeply attuned to the emotional atmosphere around her, and she followed those spiritual cues despite pressure to ignore them. You too carry that level of perception because you were chosen to feel beyond the surface. Proverbs 3:5-6 instructs us, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight." That includes dreams. Chosen one. God doesn't waste time showing you the same face over and over unless it matters. When the image returns, when the thoughts invade like tides you can't control, it is not to confuse you, it is to prepare you. So don't dismiss the dreams, don't silence the signs. Your soul knows something your mind is still catching up to. Someone is sending out waves of spiritual energy, and you, with your prophetic antenna, are receiving them clearly. The dreams are not illusions, they are invitations. They are signals that something sacred is forming behind the veil. The one who appears in your sleep may be called to walk beside you in God's divine plan. And whether they understand it or not, their spirit is already reaching for you. And now, chosen one, brace yourself, because this spiritual connection goes even further. What happens when your emotions suddenly shift? When you carry feelings that don't even belong to you? That, beloved, is the third sign, and it holds more power than you've been taught to believe. The third sign, you're feeling emotions that aren't yours because someone's soul is calling to you. Chosen one, have you ever been going about your day in complete normalcy, walking, working, laughing, only to suddenly be hit with a wave of emotion that doesn't belong to the moment you're in? Perhaps it was an unexplainable sadness that crept into your heart, a sudden tightness in your chest, or even a warm sense of longing that wrapped around your soul like invisible arms. You looked around, tried to make sense of it, searched your mind for a trigger, but there was no event, no conversation, no memory to justify the feeling. So where did it come from? What if I told you that this emotion didn't originate within you, but was sent to you? What if your soul is so spiritually connected to someone else that their feelings cross time, distance, and logic just to reach you? What if what you're carrying isn't your own burden, but a spiritual transmission from someone whose heart is silently reaching for yours? When two souls are spiritually linked, their connection transcends the limitations of space and silence. It's not fantasy. It's not psychological projection. It's a real, living energy bond, a vibrational empathy that allows one soul to echo the emotions of another without a single word being spoken. As one of God's chosen, you're gifted with a heightened sensitivity. That sensitivity isn't weakness. It's your superpower, and it's how you become a receiver of spiritual truths that others can't even sense. But you may be wondering, can I really feel someone's sorrow from miles away? Is it even biblical? Yes, and it is as ancient as the Spirit of Christ himself. In John 11:33-35 we are told, "When Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who had come with her also weeping, he was deeply moved in spirit and troubled." Jesus wept. Jesus wasn't grieving over Lazarus. He knew he was about to raise him from the dead. No, Jesus was spiritually absorbing the pain of Mary and those around her. He felt what they felt. That's divine empathy. So when your soul is struck with grief that has no explanation, or love that floods you out of nowhere, what if it's a reflection of someone thinking of you in that exact moment? What if it's a message not meant to confuse, but to connect? Let me tell you a story about Frida Kahlo, known not only for her art, but for the profound emotional and spiritual depth she infused into every painting. Frida once said, "I am not sick, I am broken, but I am happy as long as I can paint." Much of her emotional expression came not from her physical condition, but from absorbing the emotions of those she loved, and even those who loved her from afar. Her heart was a vessel for invisible pain and longing, just like yours might be. Her artwork was a way of processing what others didn't say aloud. Could it be that you too are spiritually painting someone else's unspoken longing in your heart? Romans 12:15 encourages us to rejoice with those who rejoice, weep with those who weep. This isn't just a call to compassion, it's a spiritual invitation to feel what others feel, to embody empathy on a divine level. And when you are chosen, this goes even further. You don't just share emotions, you receive them. You embody them. You awaken in the middle of the night with tears that aren't your own. You feel homesick for someone you've never met or haven't seen in years. That is not madness. That is spiritual resonance. Take the story of musician Johnny Cash. Later in life, he described how he would sometimes feel overwhelming joy or sorrow before even hearing from family or loved ones, only to find out hours later that something major had happened. He called it a soul tug, an invisible pull that alerted his heart before his mind ever knew what was going on. That's what you experience when your spirit is aligned with another's. And for you, chosen one, these soul tugs are not occasional. They're sacred markers on your journey. So what do you do when the emotions rise but have no origin? Do you ignore them? Do you push them away? Or do you lean in and ask God, whose pain am I holding? Whose love am I feeling? Whose tears have found their way to me? You were never meant to carry these sensations alone. You were meant to discern their meaning, to listen deeper than the surface of things. For you were never called to be ordinary. You were called to be a spiritual interpreter of the unseen. 1 Corinthians 2:11 teaches, "For who knows a person's thoughts except their own spirit within them? In the same way, no one knows the thoughts of God except the Spirit of God." When someone's spirit is reaching toward you, it bypasses logic and lands in your emotional field. That's how you know. That's why it feels real. That's why you feel heavy even on days that are bright, because you're not just feeling for yourself. You're feeling for someone who's spiritually tied to you. Actress and humanitarian Audrey Hepburn once remarked that she could sense the suffering of children in war-torn countries before she ever stepped foot on the ground. When she arrived and saw their pain with her eyes, she wasn't surprised. She had already felt it in her spirit. This intuitive compassion is not random. It's a divine assignment. It's the ability to carry the unspoken emotions of others and respond with grace. And you, chosen one, are wired in this same way. You may have tried to shut these feelings down before. You may have been told you're too sensitive, too emotional, or reading too much into things. But what if I told you sensitivity is one of God's favorite tools? What if you were never meant to fit the world's expectations because God needed you to feel what others hide? Galatians 6:2 says, "Carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ." But how can you carry a burden unless you can feel its weight? How can you respond to another soul's cry unless your spirit is tuned to hear it? Your tears are not a weakness, they're translations. Your chest aches not from anxiety, but from alignment. Someone is thinking of you. Someone's heart is reaching for you. And your spirit, chosen by God, receives it with holy clarity. So the next time a wave of emotion strikes you from nowhere, ask yourself, what if this is someone else's longing passing through me? What if I'm feeling their pain as an act of love? What if my sensitivity is the very evidence of a spiritual bond that still lives, even in silence? And what if, just what if, God is using you as a vessel to carry their invisible prayers? Don't deny the moment. Embrace it. Your soul is doing what it was born to do. Respond to the hidden frequencies of heaven. You're not crazy. You're not imagining things. You are chosen. And because of that, you are allowed to feel more, see more, carry more. But there is something even greater than the pain, even deeper than the sadness. What happens when what you feel isn't sorrow, but a powerful, unexplained, divine love that overwhelms your being, so consuming that you don't know whether it's coming from you or toward you? A love that appears in stillness, that haunts your quiet moments with beauty? That's not ordinary. That's not emotion. That's the next sign. And it may be the one you've been experiencing the most lately. The fourth sign. When you feel a love that has no origin, but your soul recognizes it instantly. Chosen one, has it ever happened to you that, in the midst of a calm and ordinary day, an overwhelming wave of emotion rises in your chest, without warning, without context, without any clear reason? Perhaps you were doing something routine, maybe folding laundry, driving home, or just sitting in silence. And suddenly, your heart fills with a strange longing. You feel close to someone who isn't there. You feel a surge of love that's too specific to be random. And yet, there was no memory, no moment, no conversation that triggered it. And so your mind, always seeking logic, tries to reason it away. Maybe I'm lonely. Maybe I'm imagining things. Maybe I'm just overthinking. But deep inside your spirit, you know this isn't mere imagination. You know that this feeling didn't rise out of nowhere. It was sent. And that's because, when you are chosen, your soul is wired to feel what others can't see. You don't wait for reality to confirm what heaven has already revealed in your heart. This isn't fantasy. This is what happens when two souls are spiritually connected, even from a distance. The bond is real, even when unspoken. Emotional energy is not limited by geography. It travels faster than sound, faster than thought. As one of God's chosen, you are a receiver of invisible frequencies. And sometimes the most powerful ones arrive not with thunder, but with a whisper in your spirit. So what do you do when you feel attached to someone you barely know, or perhaps haven't seen in a long time? How do you explain a closeness so deep it aches, yet so mysterious it defies explanation? The world may call it foolish, but God calls it spiritual discernment. Psalm 42:7 declares, "Deep calls unto deep at the noise of your waterfalls. All your waves and billows have gone over me." This is not a shallow emotion, it is depth recognizing depth. Your spirit is answering a call not of flesh, but of eternity. The waves you feel are not illusions. They are God's way of alerting you to a connection that is real in the invisible before it ever appears in the physical. And yes, chosen one, this feeling is strong. It arrives as a certainty in your soul, a knowing you can't shake. You don't have facts, you don't have proof, but you know there is something between you and this person. It doesn't fade with time. It doesn't weaken with distance. In fact, the longer it stays, the more it reveals itself as something not born of emotion, but born of divine timing. Take, for example, the life of C.S. Lewis. This brilliant Christian writer and theologian once described how he fell in love with Joy Davidman through an invisible thread of spiritual connection long before he understood it rationally. He sensed a bond in her words before they ever met in person. That bond, first formed in spirit, eventually turned into one of the most profound relationships of his life. Lewis wrote, "Affection is responsible for 9/10 of whatever solid and durable happiness there is in our lives. Could it be that what you're feeling now is the early whisper of a divine affection being formed? And here's what's even more mysterious. This connection may already be active on a spiritual level, even if it hasn't manifested physically. Just because your hands haven't touched doesn't mean your spirits haven't. Just because your eyes haven't met doesn't mean your hearts haven't already recognized each other in the presence of God." Ecclesiastes 8:6 tells us, "For there is a time and a way for everything, although man's trouble lies heavy on him." Your soul may be sensing what your mind has not yet seen, because God's timing reveals in spirit what it hides in reality. For now, sometimes you may feel an intense love for someone you haven't even spoken to in years, or someone you only shared a brief moment with, but whose presence lingers in your heart like a song that won't stop playing. Other times it's someone you don't fully know, but you keep feeling drawn to them, as if God himself keeps turning your heart in their direction. Don't dismiss that. Don't suppress that. Because, chosen one, your spiritual radar is real. In her memoir, singer Adele revealed that the deep emotions in her songs often didn't come from recent heartbreaks, but from sudden surges of feeling she couldn't trace. They were rooted in unspoken stories, longings that weren't easily explained. She said, "Sometimes I feel something before I know what it's about." That's how emotional energy works. It travels ahead of action. And when you are connected to someone spiritually, their emotions may arrive in your atmosphere before they arrive at your door. This is why your longing may not make sense and still be completely true. Your desire to be near them is not just yours. It's part of an energetic exchange that happens between two souls designed to align. The other person might not even understand it. They may feel the pull, but push it away. They may distract themselves while your heart remains open. But this doesn't mean they don't feel it. It simply means you're more spiritually tuned. 1 Samuel 16:7 reminds us, "People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. And because you carry the Spirit of God within you, you too see what cannot be seen. You feel what others silence. You perceive what is still hidden beneath the surface. That is not a flaw. That is your calling." This is why so many of the chosen ones feel things long before they happen. You're not just sensitive, you are prophetic. You don't need evidence to believe, because God often whispers truths to you before the world is ready to confirm them. You feel the beginnings of bonds before words are spoken. You dream of connections that haven't begun in the physical. You ache for someone you barely know, because deep in your spirit you've already known them. Look at the life of Martin Scorsese, the legendary film director. He often spoke of receiving entire scenes, even characters, in sudden moments of clarity, as if they were being whispered into his heart. Some of his deepest works were born not from deliberate planning, but from emotional movements within him that he could not explain. What if the emotion you're feeling now is not something to analyze, but something to accept? Proverbs 4:23 urges us, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." That's because the heart is not just a seat of emotions, it's a spiritual receptor. When you feel a deep love that shows up for no reason, don't assume it's emptiness. It may be fullness sent from afar. It may be confirmation of something divinely aligned. And it may be a sign that someone is emotionally reaching for you, even if they don't have the words or awareness to say so. What if the love you feel isn't yours alone? What if someone's soul is already pouring that love toward you, and you're simply the one sensitive enough to catch it? What if your longing isn't a cry for something lost, but an echo of something on its way? So when your heart races without a cause, when your chest aches in longing that can't be traced, when you feel with certainty that someone out there is thinking of you, loving you, missing you, believe it. Because as a chosen one, you're designed to receive messages in advance. You are the one who feels it first, and often you're the one who carries that love with more faith than reason. Don't let the world convince you that love must be proven to be real. Love that begins in spirit is more real than anything seen with the eyes. That attachment you feel, that silent pull, that emotional connection. It may be invisible now, but it is active. It is alive. It is already flowing in the spiritual realm, waiting for the physical world to catch up. And when it does, it will feel like you've known them forever, because in truth you have. In the divine you met long before your eyes ever locked. Isaiah 65:24 says, "Before they call, I will answer. While they are still speaking, I will hear." This is how fast God works. This is how spiritual love operates. Before you understood the longing, before you even knew what to pray for, God had already started aligning your hearts. So don't run from that love. Don't fear that attachment. It is not weakness, it is prophecy. It is the fourth sign, and it was sent to you for a reason. Because soon, chosen one, what you feel so deeply will no longer be invisible. The fifth sign, when God sends you signs through the outside world, because the connection is already written in the Spirit. Chosen one, have you ever walked through an ordinary day only to witness something extraordinary, something so specific, so personal, so precisely timed that you were left breathless? You think of someone you're connected to, and their name suddenly appears on a screen, in a comment, on a passing car. You're trying to forget them, trying to move on, and suddenly a song begins to play, and the lyrics say exactly what your soul is feeling. You whisper a silent prayer for clarity, and just moments later, the answer unfolds before your eyes. Is this coincidence, or is this confirmation? These are not random moments. They are sacred signals, divine echoes. This, chosen one, is the fifth sign, when the spiritual bond you feel within begins to manifest outwardly, and the universe itself participates in the conversation between you and the one you're spiritually linked to. These are called intuitive confirmations, moments where the world around you begins to reflect what your soul already knows but has not yet fully understood. The truth is, when two souls are deeply connected by divine design, the physical realm eventually catches up to the spiritual realm, and the deeper the connection, the more undeniable the signs become. You are not imagining this. You are not reading too much into it. You are simply awake. You are noticing what others ignore, and you are receiving messages because your spirit has been chosen to recognize them. But how do you know these are real? How do you know it's not just your mind playing tricks on you? The answer is clear, and it's biblical. Proverbs 3:6 declares, "In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths." That means when you invite God into your awareness, your path becomes a sacred ground for revelation. God speaks through anything, a billboard, a song, a line in a book, even a moment in a video like this. He is not limited by human language. He uses the language of symbols, synchronicities, and divine interruptions. And because you are chosen, God will often use these signs not to tease or confuse you, but to confirm what your soul already carries. When someone is thinking of you, or when spiritual energy is moving between you and another person, it leaves a trail in the natural world, visible only to those who are paying attention. Have you been seeing repeated numbers 1111, 2222, 333 during heightened emotional moments? Have certain songs followed you, appearing when you least expect it, yet speaking directly to your heart? Have you experienced coincidences involving someone's name, birthday, or even a phrase they once said? This is not chance. This is divine orchestration. Psalm 25:14 tells us, "The Lord confides in those who fear him. He makes his covenant known to them." In other words, God shares secrets with those who walk closely with him, and one of the ways he reveals those secrets is through outward signs. Consider the story of Paulo Coelho, the author of The Alchemist. He often spoke about how repeating signs guided him to write his most famous book. Before he even began, he kept seeing omens, a phrase heard multiple times, a recurring dream, strangers mentioning the same topic. He followed those signs, believing them to be part of a spiritual journey. That book has now changed millions of lives. What if the signs you're seeing now are not random either? What if they are pushing you closer to your divine assignment, or to someone whose destiny is intertwined with yours? But perhaps you've asked yourself, am I forcing this? Am I just reading too much into everything? That's a valid question. You've been taught by the world to doubt the supernatural. But God never asked you to rely on logic alone. He called you to live by discernment. John 10:27 confirms, "My sheep listen to my voice. I know them and they follow me." When you are chosen, you learn to recognize his voice, even when it speaks through symbols. And sometimes the signs become undeniable. You try to move on, and the reminders become stronger. You try to silence the connection, and it shouts louder. Why? Because the bond is real, and it exists beyond words. It exists in frequency. And your heart, being spiritually awake, is picking up signals that others can't detect. Take the story of Maya Lin, the designer of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C. She once shared how she kept encountering references to remembrance, healing, and spiritual silence in the months before designing the monument. These signs guided her toward creating one of the most powerful sacred spaces in modern history. She listened, and what she created became a place where millions connect with the past, with others, and even with God. Like Maya, your signs may be pulling you toward something sacred, not just for you, but for others as well. But how do you respond when the universe keeps sending confirmations? Do you brush it off, thinking it's just your mind? Or do you start walking in obedience, believing that these signs are part of a bigger plan? Isaiah 30:21 gives you the answer. "Your ears shall hear a word behind you saying, 'This is the way, walk in it,' whenever you turn to the right hand or whenever you turn to the left." God doesn't send signs to play games. He sends them to provide direction. And when your steps align with your spirit, the path becomes illuminated, even if only one step at a time. Chosen one, the world around you is starting to mirror the divine frequency between you and this person for a reason. Because when you carry a spiritual bond that hasn't yet manifested in the physical, God begins to gently, lovingly nudge you toward understanding. You are not imagining this connection, you are being prepared for it. Even actor Keanu Reeves, known for his humility and deep introspection, has spoken about how life often sends him signs when he's at major crossroads, repeating dreams, certain phrases from strangers, or symbols that appear consistently. He said, "I trust the quiet moments. They often say the most." Like Keanu, you've been chosen to notice the quiet things, and often the quietest signs are the loudest in spirit. So what should you do when these signs appear? Pause, pay attention, ask God, "Is this you? What are you trying to show me?" Because the more you lean into it, the more the signs will multiply. And soon, what once felt like a mystery will begin to take shape with stunning clarity. The more you acknowledge God in the small things, the more He'll reveal in the big ones. Jeremiah 33:3 declares, "Call to me, and I will answer you, and tell you great and unsearchable things you do not know." You've been calling out in your heart, haven't you? Asking for confirmation, asking for peace. And now, God is answering, not just in your dreams or emotions, but in the very reality around you. So don't be surprised when you see their name again. Don't be shocked when the song plays at the exact moment you needed it. Don't dismiss the way the same numbers keep following you, or the way you just happen to hear a story that mirrors your own. You are not crazy. You are not imagining things. You are perceiving what others can't see, because you, chosen one, were made to live in both the seen and unseen realms. The signs are not coincidences. They are God's whispers turned visible. They are heaven's way of aligning the invisible with the visible, and they are telling you that something powerful is unfolding between you and this person, something sacred, something intentional, something divinely orchestrated. So the next time the world reflects your heart, remember, you asked for confirmation. God is answering. And if you keep watching with eyes of faith, you'll begin to realize this isn't just a spiritual connection, it's a divine assignment in motion. Chosen one, now that you've seen the signs, one by one, layer by layer, you're faced with a sacred question. It's not just about them. It's not just about the energy, the dreams, the emotions, or the divine synchronicities. Now the spotlight turns inward, and the question becomes, if all of this is real, what does that say about you? Pause for a moment. Breathe. Feel the stillness around you, because this is where revelation begins. Have you ever wondered why you feel so much when others seem numb? Why you pick up on energies that no one else talks about? Why your heart won't stop dreaming even when your mind begs for silence? You may have spent years doubting yourself, suppressing your sensitivity, trying to force yourself to get over it or just move on. But your soul never let you. And now, perhaps for the first time, something inside you is exhaling. Not because the feelings have gone away, but because you're finally understanding them. You were never imagining it. You were hearing truth before others could. Romans 8:14 says, "For those who are led by the Spirit of God are the children of God." And you, chosen one, have been led not by logic or noise, but by whispers from heaven. What you thought was overthinking was actually spiritual listening. What you believed was emotional chaos was divine sensitivity. What the world called too much, God calls exactly enough. Maybe no one ever validated that for you. Maybe the people you trusted told you to quiet down, harden your heart, or grow a thicker skin. But your soul never conformed because it was never meant to. You weren't created to be like everyone else. You were created to feel deeper, to hear clearer, to see sooner. You don't feel more than others. You feel deeper than most are capable of feeling, and that, dear one, is not a flaw. It is your holy gift. 1 Peter 2:9 declares, "But you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, His own special people, that you may declare the praises of Him who called you out of darkness into His marvelous light." Do you hear that? You are chosen, set apart, spiritually awakened, not to be like everyone else, but to be a mirror of the unseen. You're not here to follow the noise. You're here to translate the divine. The feelings that have chased you all your life, the longing, the unspoken attachments, the dreams, the tears you couldn't explain, they were never punishments. They were preparations. Each one was an invitation from heaven, calling you deeper, guiding you toward your soul's assignment. Let me share the story of Susan Cain, the best-selling author of Quiet, The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking. For most of her life, she felt her sensitivity and depth of emotion were liabilities. But once she embraced them, she discovered they were her greatest assets. Her book went on to awaken millions who had silenced their inner world, reminding them that deep feeling isn't weakness, it's wisdom. You, chosen one, are part of this same tribe, the sacred feelers, the prophetic hearts, the quiet spiritual warriors. And that person you've been spiritually connected to, they didn't enter your awareness by chance. The bond wasn't an accident. Whether they've acknowledged it or not, whether they're near or far, seen or unseen, your connection to them has served a holy purpose. It awakened your gifts. It reminded you that your soul speaks a language not everyone can understand, but that God hears perfectly. Maybe your heart is still aching for clarity. Maybe you're still unsure if the connection will ever be fully known, returned, or completed. But know this, just because something hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it isn't real. The spiritual world always moves before the physical catches up. Hebrews 11:1 reminds us, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." You are not just feeling blindly, you are standing in faith. Your emotions, your dreams, your synchronicities, they are evidence. Sacred evidence that God is working behind the scenes, that something is being aligned, that love is not random, it's divine. Take the example of Steve Harvey. Before becoming a globally recognized TV host and motivational speaker, he faced immense rejection, homelessness, and seasons where nothing made sense. But he always said, "God lets you be uncomfortable so you can grow into your calling." Steve credits divine signs, strangers who spoke life into him, dreams that refused to die, and feelings that defied logic for pushing him toward destiny. What if your unexplainable emotions, your endless longing, are God's way of stretching you into the version of yourself that can carry what's coming? And here's the deeper truth, the love you carry inside you, that ache, that yearning, that unwavering belief. It was never just about another person. It was about unlocking you, because only a soul this pure, this prophetic, this in tune, could ever love with such endurance. Ezekiel 36:26 says, "I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit in you. I will remove from you your heart of stone and give you a heart of flesh." You've been given that new heart, a heart that doesn't shut down, a heart that feels and stays open even when it hurts, a heart that chooses love even in uncertainty. That is the mark of the chosen. And perhaps the most beautiful truth is this: you are no longer alone. You are part of a hidden family, a spiritual generation, a network of chosen ones who walk among the world quietly, sensing what others overlook, carrying light into dark spaces, and hearing God through symbols, signs, silence, and sensation. You are not broken. You are blessed with sight in a world that lives blindfolded. Remember the story of Viola Davis. She endured poverty, trauma, and years of silence, carrying pain so deep it almost became her identity. But she used that pain to tap into truth. Her performances became spiritual transmissions, and through her work she found that what once made her different made her divine. So it is with you. You were chosen not in spite of your sensitivity, but because of it. So what does this all say about you, now that you've come this far? It says you are awakened. It says you are anointed to feel what others suppress. It says that your spiritual empathy, your dreams, your tears, your goosebumps, your deep knowing, they are not exaggerations. They are not burdens. They are gifts from God Himself, embedded in your soul before you were born. You are the one who feels what hasn't yet been spoken, the one who knows what others haven't yet understood, the one who sees what is still hidden and believes even when no one else does. You, dear chosen one, are the vessel, the receiver, the channel. Chosen one, now that all 5 signs have been revealed, You may find yourself looking back on moments that once felt confusing, random, or even painful, and seeing them through an entirely new lens. That unexpected shiver down your spine, the dream that lingered in your chest like a memory you didn't live, the wave of emotion that had no origin, that sudden longing you couldn't justify, the name that kept showing up just when you were ready to walk away. You see it now, don't you? They weren't random, they weren't illusions, they were messages, warnings, confirmations, divine interruptions. Every sign was part of a sacred pattern pointing you towards something real, not just a person, but a purpose. And perhaps the most beautiful truth is this: you were never the only one feeling it. But maybe you've carried this connection in silence. Maybe you've wrestled with fear, doubt, or even shame, wondering if you were just too sensitive, too spiritual, too open. Maybe the other person doesn't fully understand what's happening. Maybe they feel it but can't explain it. Or maybe they're not ready to face what you've already embraced. And yet the energy moves, the bond breathes, and your soul still knows. Because what you're experiencing is not fantasy, it's spiritual reality. The connection is alive in the unseen realm, and just because it hasn't taken form in the physical world doesn't mean it's not true. So now the question emerges, not from emotion, but from alignment. What are you supposed to do with this? Should you chase after them, wait in silence, try to forget it? The answer isn't found in waiting nor in chasing. The answer is found in alignment. This is your divine assignment now, not to fixate on what the other person is doing, but to tune your energy toward the calling God has placed inside of you. Because when you align yourself with His purpose, when you grow in strength, healing, and clarity, you activate the connection more than words ever could. Matthew 6:33 says, "But seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things will be added to you." That includes the connections ordained by heaven. That includes the person your spirit is already tethered to. That includes divine timing. The more you seek God's alignment, the closer the unseen becomes seen. Take the story of Simone Biles. Despite being one of the most decorated athletes in the world, Simone chose to step back from the Olympics to prioritize her spiritual and emotional well-being. In doing so, she sparked a global conversation, reminding us that true strength is inner alignment, not outer performance. She didn't chase success. She aligned with her soul, and the world followed. Chosen one, what could begin to shift around you if you stopped running and started aligning? You've been entrusted with a gift, a spiritual connection that transcends space, time, and logic. But this gift is not meant to paralyze you. It's meant to propel you into the next stage of your purpose. That person you're connected to, they are part of your path, but they are not the center of it. God is. And when you prioritize your mission, the divine connection follows in perfect timing. Psalm 37:23 promises, "The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and He delights in His way." Your next step is not to wait in limbo. Your next step is to move forward with divine obedience. Because with every step of healing, self-love, and surrender, you're not only transforming yourself, you're awakening the bond in the spirit realm. Perhaps that's what you didn't see before, that you are the activator, the one who feels first, the one who dreams first, the one who believes when no one else understands, not because you're too emotional, but because you're chosen. And God often speaks to His chosen ones through invisible threads and sacred discomforts. Do you remember the story of Tasha Cobbs Leonard? This powerful gospel singer once shared how she felt overwhelming emotions that didn't make sense until she realized God was preparing her to minister to people who hadn't even entered her life yet. She said, "Sometimes God gives you the weight of what's coming before He gives you the view." Could it be that the emotions you've been carrying are not just reflections, but rehearsals for a divine future? And here's what's even more powerful. You're not alone in this. You are part of a hidden spiritual generation, thousands around the world who, like you, love silently, feel deeply, dream prophetically, and long for truth in a world that numbs itself with distractions. And today, you've received something sacred: clarity. Because now you know, you didn't feel all this for nothing. You didn't dream for nothing. You didn't experience all those signs by coincidence. You weren't weak. You were never too much. You were being prepared. Isaiah 60:22 declares, "When the time is right, I, the Lord, will make it happen, and the time is closer than you think." But for now, chosen one, your work is not in waiting, it's in becoming. Becoming the version of yourself that heaven has been revealing to you through every tear, every sign, every longing. That connection in your heart. It's not an interruption to your path, it's a bridge on your path, and it will align when you are aligned. John 15:7 gives this final assurance: "If you remain in me, and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish, and it will be done for you." God is not teasing you. He is training you. The more you lean into him, the more the invisible will begin to take form in your life. Connections, timing, answers, confirmations. So now, the truth settles into your spirit like a holy flame. You were right to feel it. You were chosen to carry it. You are strong enough to align with it. And yes, you are already walking into it. Beloved chosen one, you carry a gift, one that not many understand, but heaven treasures deeply. The gift of feeling before things happen. The gift of sensing when a soul is connected to yours, even if they haven't awakened to it yet. And yes, this sensitivity can sometimes feel like a burden, especially when it makes you walk alone. But never forget, this is not a curse. This is your calling. You were chosen not to fit in, but to perceive what others ignore. You were called to love in silence, to hear the voice of God in stillness, and to carry the sacred knowing that what you feel is not only valid, it is divinely assigned. The chosen are those who see with eyes closed, who hear with their hearts, and who feel in dimensions that others haven't even touched. And if you've made it this far, then know without a shadow of doubt, you are feeling something real. The connection in your spirit is not fantasy. It is alive, vibrating through the unseen, being nurtured by divine timing. It may be quiet now, but silence doesn't mean absence. God is still moving. The connection is still forming. And soon, in his perfect time, what is invisible will become visible. If this message resonated with your soul, if you finally understand that you're not feeling all of this alone, comment below, "I accept this connection." Let that simple sentence become a spiritual declaration, an open door for divine alignment, for unseen hearts to find each other, and for God to move as only he can. Thank you for walking this sacred journey with me. Whether this is your first time here, or you've been watching for a while, I'm deeply honored by your presence. Every view, every comment, every prayerful pause you take in reflection, it means more than you know. You are part of a spiritual family, and I see you. If you feel led to support this message and help keep this channel alive and expanding, you can do so through super thanks below. Your kindness fuels the mission, but please hear me clearly. Whether you choose to donate or not, I am incredibly grateful for you. Your presence, your openness, and your spirit are already a gift. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. And now I speak this blessing over you. May God protect your heart with peace that surpasses understanding. May he send confirmation when your soul needs it most. May the one your spirit is connected to awaken in divine timing. And may you walk forward with boldness, knowing that you are never alone. Because what is meant for you cannot be taken, and what is written in the Spirit always finds its way home. With love, with light, and with faith unshaken, you are God's chosen one.